Well, today we are fishing a venue that's just outside Sheffield. It's a beautiful mixed fishery. There are so many different species in here, it's going to be very hard to predict what we might catch. I'm going to be fishing with the pole. I've got some hard pellets, I've got some soft pellets, I've also got some corn, and I'm going to be fishing on a couple of different lines. So today we are going to be fishing Loxley Fisheries. Well, for those that know this venue, I'm actually fishing permanent peg 4, and as you can see over my shoulder there is what looks like an island. Now it's not actually an island, it's a floating raft, but I'm not going to be fishing there today. That is about, I'd say it's about 16 or 17 metres away. I'm not going to be going near that today. There will obviously be fish around that, I'm sure, and there are plenty of fish cruising about. As you can see, it's a sunny day. I'm going to be fishing the pole at about 5 metres, and I'm going to try and catch on the deck, but I'm actually going to be fishing with soft pellet on that line. I'm going to be fishing dead depth, really nice and accurate, and I know that as this is such a mixed fishery, we could be catching skimmers, bream. I'm sure there are tension here as well. There are carp, F1s, there are chub in here, there are barbel in here, so it might throw up a few surprises. So I'm only going to fish 5 metres there, and then later on in the session I'm going to be fishing down to my right hand side where there is a small reed bed, and I'm going to be fishing close up to that reed bed where I'm going to try and catch shallow today. So before I show you the rig that I'm going to be using on the 5 metre line, let me quickly give you a quick rundown on the kind of baits we're going to be using. So the baits we're going to be using today are very much what I would call shelf life baits. I haven't got any live baits today, so there's no maggots, no casters, no worms. I've just got pellets and corn. However, what I've got a selection of hook pellets. Okay, so I've got some, these are original samples from the original Bait Tech ones. I think these are the, I think they were called the Special G pellets. They're soft pellets. I've kept them, I've looked after them, so they're nice and soft, so I can try those on the hook. A couple of different flavours, a couple of different colours. Okay, I'm also going to be using, because obviously I was with Bait Tech for quite a while, I know that these expand pellets are really good, so I'm going to be pumping these pellets. These stay on the hook brilliantly, and my dad still uses these even when he fishes on a waggler with a soft pellet, so, you know, so they stay on the hook really well. So I'm going to be pumping some of those and trying those on the hook. As regards feed pellets, at this particular fishery you can actually use your own feed pellets, but I haven't brought any special pellets along today for feeding. Okay, so what I sometimes do is I box my pellets up so that they keep really well in tubs like that. They're easy to transport to your peg. I always measure these tubs so I know exactly what quantities in each one, but they are just 2mm pellets, just run-of-the-mill 2mm pellets. So I'm going to be soaking some of those up for feeding, but I've also been told by the fishery owner, Matt Birkinshaw, that feeding 4mm pellets might be the best way to go today. So I've got some 4mm hard pellets. Now these are, if I'm right in saying, these are actually from Larford Lakes. I've got so many pellets that I've got from Larford Lakes from all the trips I've been there. They've got to be a couple of years old now, so they've been bagged up, they should still be okay. So they're the ones that I'm going to be using today. So they're hard pellets, I'm going to be feeding those hard. I'm also going to feed these on the 5 metre line, but I'm also going to be loose feeding these down the margin as well, where I hope to catch on a banded pellet shallow later on in the session. And then just to top it all off, I've got the good old faithful corn. We might have to switch to that, who knows, but corn is widely used on all commercials now. Fish know what they are. And I've got 2 tins of corn, just in case that's something that they really want. I have got some ground bait with me as well, but I don't plan on using it. And all I have got is the old faithful pellet pump, a nice little pellet pump that I bought years ago. So I'm going to be pumping some pellets with that. So I'll quickly show you how I'm going to pump these pellets. So we've got some really nice 4mm for the hook. Well, it's easy to prepare expander pellets as long as they're a good expander. Some are better than others, and unfortunately sometimes it might be a little bit of trial and error to find out which are the better ones and which aren't so good. I know these are good because I've used them for years. So all you need to do is basically you need a pellet pump of some shape or form. There are loads of different pellet pumps out there. This is just a cheap one, and it was great when I bought it, so I went and bought a couple more, gave one to Dad, and these have been perfect, you know. So it's really, I mean, this is only a cheap pump anyway, so all we need to do is open your expanders. Now these are currently hard because obviously they haven't been soaked, and what you need to do is pop those into your pump. Now a word of caution here, just try not to waste them. I see so many people that put loads and loads of these pellets in a tub thinking they're going to need loads, and they just end up wasting them at the end of the session. This only takes a minute to do when you're actually doing it, so the best thing I can say to you is pellets aren't cheap to buy, we know that, certainly the branded ones, you know, and you want to keep the cost of your fishing down, so just do them in small batches. You know, it's amazing what a small batch of how long and how many pellets are actually in there, so just do a few at a time. There's no point in wasting them, okay, because it all adds to the cost of your fishing. So I'm just going to pop a few in here. There's no need to do a lot because we might find that the fish don't want them. We might be better off with a hard pellet or corn, so there's no point in doing too many. So you just put a few in your tub, then the tub, just fill the tub with water. Some people might want to add flavouring to that water as well. If you don't want to add flavouring, you could put that into the water and put that in here to give your pellets a little bit of added flavour. So they're all in there now, they're all floating because they haven't been pumped. All you do is put the top of your pump on, make sure it's nice and sealed, okay, and then it's just a case of pumping them. And depending on how good your pump is, you will see the pellets change while you've pumped them. Now you can't see in this one because this particular pump is, it's, you know, you can't see right the way through it, but you might just be able to make out at the bottom, there are the pellets right at the bottom, they're now sank. So that's taking the air out of them, so they're going to sink. Now what you need to do now is you need to give them a little bit of time to soak because you've got the air out of them, but they will expand, as the name suggests, slightly. They will go nice and soft for the hook. So all I do is I can take the top off that now because all the air is out of there, all the pellets are still at the bottom, and I'll just pop them into a nice little bait tray and keep them in water. I know for a fact that these pellets will last quite a while still in water. Some pellets aren't quite as good as these might not do that. You might find they break down after a little while when they've been in the water, so you might need to drain some of the water off, but they are all sunk, they're all at the bottom now, so over the course of the next 5 minutes they will expand slightly, go nice and soft, and in about 10 minutes they'll be perfect for the hook. Well, the starting approach on this 6 metre line is simply going to be to kinder pot in about 10 4mm hard pellets right on line with where I'm fishing. The rig's set at dead depth, and I'm going to kick off with a soft pellet and just take it from there. Right, the rig that I'm going to be using on, it was due to be a 5 metre line. I've actually gone to 6 because it's a little bit soft out there. The bottom's quite soft. I've had a good plumb round with a plummet. Now the rig I'm going to be using, it's only about 4.5 feet deep. It's just a really nice rig. As you can see, there's no wind or anything, there's no tow, there's no ripple. So I've been able to use the float that I wanted to use. Okay, so I'm going to be kicking off with a size 16 hook. And then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 number 8 stots spaced out. And then I've got the float. Just before I got into my feeder fishing, I was spending a bit of time. I spent a couple of winters at Grange Park, Messingham, on the fishery there, fishing with soft pellets. I wanted to learn how to fish with soft pellets, and I ended up winning the last winter league there that I fished there just by fishing dead depth, fishing for crucians, F1s, really shy biting fish, and that's where we found out that floats of this sort of a pattern were ideal. Really super sensitive, and when there's no tow or anything, these were great because you can really either dot it right down, and with lots of fish like crucians and F1s, a lot of the bites you were getting were lift bites as well, and with a float like that you should be able to see the bites perfectly. I've got that then running up to a Dacron. I haven't got any sort of a back shot yet. If I need one I will put one on, and then I've got that to number 10 to 12 slick elastic, and from what I hear there I've been catching a few carp. I don't know about the area that I'm fishing today, but that elastic should help me land anything that I hook. And I've got that coupled with a side puller, which should hopefully help me control any bigger fish. And then what we're going to do is, I'm just going to pot in about 10 4mm straight away, just to kickstart the swim. That wind's it's just been blowing right into us, and that's why I'm not trying to loose feed these 4mm. I don't want them to spread too much, but just tap them in. There we go, just on the drop. as I suspected, there might be loads of small fish up in the water, but we'll find out as we go on. What's this one? There we go. A chub on the pellet straight away. We might end up fishing shallow on this line, even though we're not feeding it as though it's a shallow line. But if there are so many fish up in the water, then we will do that. I will change the rig. Let's see if we can catch some shallow. Like I say, I expect to be fishing shallow down this margin, down to the right. I've got to keep feeding that. Keep putting 4mm pellets. I'm not going to go right up to the reeds, but just off the front of them. I've got the rig set at half depth on that line, but I'll show you that rig in a little while when we go on to that. But I'm just going to keep feeding it, keep building it up. Let's see if we can catch some fish on this line. I'm not feeding again this time, just to see what happens. Another indication on the drop. There we go, another small fish. Even smaller fish this time. Already this is telling us something. What's this one? That's a roach, that one. Okay, 2 casts, 2 species. But just for curiosity, I'm going to have a quick flick over that 6 metre line, but with my shallow rig that I've got made up for the short line. I'm not feeding this swim as though I want to catch them up in the water, but there are that many fish up in the water. That might be just the only way to go today. So let's try it. I've got this rig already set up. If we want to catch them shallow, obviously I can feed as though we want to catch them shallow. Well, let's just try it. The rig's there to try. Just flick that over the same line. Give it a few little flicks. Let's see what we can get. There we go. Didn't feed anything, just a few flicks over with that shallow rig. Just trying to imitate, you know, a few pellets being loose fed. What we got here then? Looks like a skimmer, or a bream, or is it an hide? It could be anything on here. Let's have a look. Whoa, look at that for a beautiful fish. Stunning. Fantastic, just by fishing shallow. I think that's going to be the only way to go today, to be fair. There are that many fish up in the water. I think we're just going to start flicking a few pellets out there. I'm not quite sure how accurate we can actually feed them with this wind, but we can give it a go. What I'll do is I'll just start flicking a few 4mm out there. Might have to come back a little bit because of that wind. So I'm going to come back to about 5 metres now. I'm going to keep these pellets going in down this margin. I'm going to keep them interested for later on in the session. Just going to shallow that up slightly, just a little bit. Let's see if we can catch it 5 metres now in shallow. Just going to take a section off. I'm going to put that other section on it just in case we need to add to it if we hook anything that runs. I'm just going to try flicking the rig just past the tip of the pole in case the pole is going to scare them in any way, but I mean this is the rig really what was for fishing down the margin, so might be better off switching to a proper shallow rig, and we'll catch what we can on this. laid that rig in there and it's gone straight away. I've had a couple of eyed fishing shallow with that margin rig. But I've just gone back to the full depth rig now, still with banded pellet on, and that was just kind of holding it back and falling through the water. It's a decent, a good eyed, that one. And that was just falling through the water, which can sometimes be the best way to go. That's a lovely looking eyed, that one, just in the middle of the top lip, just nicked. It's still very lively. Let's pop him back. Well, I've been told that they can actually catch in the really shallow water on this peg, this margin that I'm actually fishing today, but this is only a very short session. I can't really be here to fish at the best time of day when when margins are meant to produce, which is after 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, that sort of time. It's only 1 o'clock right now, so I'm just going to have a look. So what I'm going to do is, because I can't be here until that time, I'm going to fish slightly further down into the slightly deeper water in front of the reed bed, okay, where it's obviously a little bit deeper, and I'm going to kinder pot or toss pot bait in really nice and tidy up to those reeds. I've just got the feeling that we haven't really seen any carp in that deep water, so I'm pretty sure they're in the shallower water and possibly round the edge of those reeds if they're considering spawning. So I'm just going to put about 20 pellets in there, 4mm hard pellets, just toss pot them in and then go straight in over the top, right up to the front edge of those reeds. Just going to pot them in just there to the front edge of the reeds, and then I'm just going to lay my rig just past where my pole tip is and just pull the float back towards it, and hopefully we're going to, there we go, that was an indication straight away there, up in the water. I'm hoping they're not going to be up in the water even in this, this shallower water, but I really want to catch them on the deck on this line. I don't want to have to go shallow there, but we'll find out if we have to do that. I've only got 2 stots down the rig. It's a 4 number 10s rig, 2 stots below it spread out, size 16 hard banded 6mm pellet on a band, obviously with it's a size 16 hook, so 10 to 12 elastic, slick. And I could just see that float nicely there. Hopefully that's showing up nicely on the camera for you. I'm not dotting it down because I'm hoping that any bites we're going to get are going to be positive bites, and it should make it easier for you to see on the camera. There we go. Lovely positive bite. Looks a good fish as well. He's running down away from down the bank. That elastic stopped him now. That's the thing with this slick elastic. I was told about this before I even started using it. It tends to come out quite quick initially, as though it's a little bit soft, but then it soon kicks in and then gives you that control what you need. I'm just going to swing my pole round so it's not over that footpath. Quite a few walkers today in this beautiful sunshine. Let's have a look at it, find out what this is. First scoop, lovely little carp, nice mirror. Great start. It's one of those dark mirrors. Oh, he's not too big, but it'd be enough with a few chips. It's a carp, that one, yeah. Just repeat that again. Just going to pop that back shot on. I've already squeezed one on. I slid it right up to where the Dacron was because I didn't think we'd need it, but there is one already on, so I can just slide that down now. So that'll get the line down away from that ripple and that movement. Put another 6mm pellet on. I'm going to try and stay nice and positive on this line. We want some better fish now. If this was a match, you wouldn't be happy with all those silvers, as great as they are to catch. In a match, you'd want some better fish, and that's what I'm going to try and get now. So I'm going to feed it quite positive. Again, with those 4mm pellets, I'm going to keep putting about 20 to 25 in each cast. We'll sprinkle those pellets in and then flick that rig past and back again. Like I said, there's a back shot on now, or a back stot, so that should stay in position better now. Yeah, the float's dotted down more now. Obviously it's taking on the weight of that back shot. Just try and hold it there for you so it's still in shot. And that should just sit there nicely now. That should be just touching bottom just there. Like I say, it is a little bit uneven, but hopefully we don't have to be too critical today. There we go, straight away. And the great thing is as well, we've only just potted in as well, so that bait what's just gone in, we'll be setting up and hopefully lining that up for the next fish for when we drop in again. This one's shot straight out. Very fast bite and a fast run that time. There are F1s in here, but like I said, there are barbel in here, there are tench. Could be anything when you hook a fish in here. That's another good fish. That's 2 in 2 casts on that line. He's got a big mouth on that one, just hooked in the top lip. Wasn't in long as well, which is great, you know, because it means you're not waiting a long time for fish. I'll just hold him up for you. They've all been decent fish down that margin. Lovely fish. Just check the rig, make sure one of those stots has just moved slightly. That's what can happen. Sometimes it rubs on the net. The back shot has just moved it slightly. I think it just wants squeezing on a bit tighter, that back shot. That's it. No need to change anything. 6mm pellet again. Those pellets are only just being cupped in when we hook that fish, so hopefully there's going to be a fish waiting, but I'm going to cup a few pellets in on this drop-in as well, just to make sure, because if we hook another one, it means we're going to be leaving some pellets there for the next fish. Sometimes it can take you 5 minutes or whatever to land these fish. It's nice to know you've got a bit of bait in your peg waiting for the next fish. Just put the rigging in again the same, just flick it past and drag it back so it's into the shot for you. Fish is taking that on the drop. Small fish. So there are obviously some small silverfish there as well, but they're going to be everywhere in this kind of weather. Just put the rig in again, lay it out and then drag it back to where it should be the bang on right depth, where we cup the bait in, and keep the tip down low so that back shot can sink. There we go, one waiting for us. That one's caused a bigger disturbance, that one right in the peg is coming under. And it's only a little carp, but that went balmy when we hooked it. Looks like a nice little stocky of some sort. There we go. Hook's come out in the net. Lovely fish. That were waiting for us, that, wasn't it? Well, this really is a mixed fishery. We've had loads of different species today. Haven't caught any carp on the 6 metre line, but there's been loads and loads of silverfish. I really wish I brought the shallow gear and come prepared to fish shallow with some proper shallow rigs, because I know there have been some carp cruising about out there, and I'm sure we would have caught one or two. The main line's been down here. It's all been about the margin. We've had 7 carp, I think it is, a couple of smaller ones, but the others were really good fish, and there's definitely been indications that the activity there has been getting stronger as the afternoon's been going on. It's still only 2:15, so I think the best time to be down there hasn't even come yet. But it's been a great session. I've really enjoyed it. If you've enjoyed watching it, please give it a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more videos like this, please hit subscribe just there. And if you want to see more coaching tuition style videos, check out my other channel just there, Patron TV. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all next time.